friends. Hello, it's Angela here. I have missed you guys. I am so excited. We are at week 10 already in our book club read by Julia Cameron. It's Never Too Late to Begin Again. She's the best-selling author of The Artist's Way. So if you're here, you probably know about the Artist's Way book, or maybe morning pages are your thing. I'm kind of in a major journaling era right now. I'm always journaling, but I'm in maybe like a heavier era of that right now. So I'm really enjoying this book. And if you can believe that we're on week 10 already out of 12, like, oh, the end of my poor book is getting all crunched. Yeah, we only have 12. It's a 12-week book study. So if you're just joining for the first time, you can totally join at any time. There's no, oh, you have to do it with us or anything. There will be 12 videos and you can do them at any time that you want. And you don't even have to buy the book. I read a lot out of the book, but if you want all of the conversation and everything, of course, I encourage you to buy the book. And I've got a link below this video if you want to buy it on Amazon. That's the cheapest place that I found. And I'm really like, this book has brought so much creative spark. And not just creative spark, but a lot of just deep self-reflection and thinking and stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. So today, week 10 is all about reigniting a sense of vitality. Vitality. Anyway, that sense of vitality. I wanted to read this quote that was in this week. It's a Chinese proverb, and it said, "The person who said it cannot be done should not interrupt the person who is doing it." But, oh, is that ever powerful? Because there's so many people who are trying to do things, and sometimes other people come in, and I don't know if it's jealousy or just envy, living in envy or what, but sometimes what happens is people see other people doing good or making progress or like doing lots of things, reaching their goals, losing weight, doing all these things, and your feeling is to maybe of comparison. And sometimes some people try and throw you off your track. And I love that proverb because it kind of says that. So don't listen to the people who aren't actually doing the thing that you're doing. The person who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the person who is doing it. So those people, those naysayers, just forget about them. This week focuses on developing a healthy sense of self-protection, thus giving us strength and clarity we need in challenging situations. Looking back in your memoir, remember how you spent your energy on yourself and on others. Today, you choose to spend your valuable inner resources, and as you choose correctly for yourself and your values, you are rewarded with energy and strength. I need my glasses. Writing, you are led forward. Taking artist dates, you are inspired. Walking, you are connected to a limitless spiritual resource. And committing to its care, you receive the strength you need. Revisiting your memoir, you connect and learn from your old former self. Often, buried dreams are the calling cards of a true identity. And when we honor our true identity, vitality is the reward. So that to me sounds like when you are giving from an empty cup, that is when you start getting into burnout. And so the first topic is called the inner well. And it's not just about filling your cup so that you can be able to be there for others and yourself, but it's also about just having that. Well, let me read a little bit and then you'll understand where she's going with this one. And this other quote first, it's not the length of life, but the depth of life, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I love that quote too. There's little snippets on every page. So just to preface what we're doing here is we are doing morning pages every morning of 3 written. That's what comes along with this in this little book club read. The idea is you can do all of these things and it's going to give you more self-reflection. Now, you don't have to do any of it. You can just listen to me and do the journal prompts along with the book, or you can go ahead and do the 1-week artist dates and do the morning pages, 3 pages of morning pages every morning, and do the 20-minute walk by yourself with no headphones, no animals, no, just you focusing. I bring animals with me because we have bears, and a lot of bears, and my glasses seem crooked, don't they? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's my face is crooked or my cane. I don't know. My glasses look like they're crooked on me, but anyway. Yeah, they totally do. They should be like right there. I should get them adjusted. Maybe I'll put these ones on. I keep glasses and all over the place so that ones look the same. I don't know. Maybe it's just my nose. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I just seriously get on such a tangent. Okay. Whenever we do something creative, we fish from our inner well. What do I mean by that? I mean that all of us have a supply of images that we employ when we create. It is worth thinking of ourselves as an ecosystem. I like that thought. When we write, paint, sew, act, we draw from images from our inner well. If we learn to restock our store of images, we will find ourselves be able to work more easily. Conversely, when we draw from the well without replenishing it, just like filling your cup and giving from an empty cup, our work becomes labored and we wonder what's suddenly gone wrong. What's wrong is that we are fishing from the well without restoring our stock of images. The best way to restock is to take an artist date. As we consciously refill the well, we regain a sense of ease. A weekly artist date is usually sufficient. However, when we are working flat out, an extra artist date may be called for. So an artist date is any creative act that you go take for yourself, by yourself, such as visiting, she uses an example in this chapter about visiting a donut shop and visiting a bird store. And what's the other one? There's quite a bit of examples in this chapter. Where did she go? This other lady went and went to a horse event. But by just giving back to yourself some time to just do something that you enjoy, where you can be thinking, tapping into memories and being creative or anything like that, can help restore the well. And she even says taking specific remembering artist dates can be a very powerful tool for us, both in connecting to our past and fueling our present. Some people revisit the roads they once lived on or walk their former route from their elementary school to their childhood home. Some create recipes, watch a favorite childhood movie, reread a favorite childhood book. There are many small details. The specific shapes of a mobile, the cat's red mouse, the scent of grandmother's perfume, the song that we listened to obsessively in middle school that can trigger these powerful memories. And more than memories, these images and senses connect us to ourself. They're all still a part of us, and we are stronger for making contact with them. Keep in mind, an artist date can be anything. It just needs to speak to a sense of fun. So we really, really, really have to remember from being able to give to others, we have to be able to keep that tank full. And so that's just a super great way of doing it. The other thing is by doing your morning pages, you are also writing out all kind of brain dumping everything in your mind. So you're getting everything out of your head first thing in the morning and putting it onto paper. And so then you can think clear, you can plan, and things such as that. So I was thinking back to a memory and trying to think of what artist date I can do. And I want to just share this with you because my grandma gave me the most amazing artist date. Now, it wasn't by myself, but I got so much back from it. I felt so full, like my tank was so full after going there. And what she did was she arranged for us to go. She went on like a almost like a farmstead tour where they toured around and looked at mostly gardens and stuff. And it was just, she said it was just so amazing that she talked to the lady that had one of the most beautiful farms and gardens. And she said, you know what, my granddaughter would love this to come here and see this because she loves stuff like that. Could I bring her back here? And the lady said, of course, and whenever you want. And so we made a time and date. And next time I came to town, because I live 8 hours from her, um, she drove us over there and we got to explore her beautiful farm and gardens. And it was just unbelievable. I just loved it so much. And it brought back so many memories of me and it brought memories even of me being with my other grandma in her garden, sitting in the dirt in my shorts and bare feet, picking carrots, going and rinsing them with the hose and eating them and cutting hydrangeas. And I would remember that she used to dry them in the basement with this. She'd dip them in this special like silicone dust or something. I can't remember. And they would be all hanging in the basement. And she'd always be like, do you need some dried hydrangeas? And oh, it was so cute. It was so pretty. So all these little things, that's kind of like an artist date that I didn't do myself, but was sprung upon me. But I felt so rejuvenated after we had went out for lunch. It was just wonderful. So that grandma and I try and do things every time I come to town, which is usually for medical purposes. So we try and turn that into like something fun and have some visiting time because the medical trips can be really a drag. If you've been following this from the beginning, you know that I've been through quite a lot in the last 2 years. So this chapter is really interesting for me because I'm going to get to this one part, but it just all comes together and it's very cohesive and it comes together and it makes it just so many aha moments that we just don't naturally think of. Sometimes you need to be like, put yourself in a certain situation and then all of a sudden all these synchronicities and things that are coming together that we didn't even remember. It's hard to explain. I had some crazy synchronistic things happen in the last week, and I wanted to share them with you. And then I did not write them down again. And it was really weird, but we did it. One of these chapters was on synchronicity, and it was so bizarre because since I've been tapped into thinking about that, I'm seeing it all over the place. When you're not tapped into like remembering to think about that or notice those things that are happening that are all synchronicities coming together, you don't even realize that they're happening and put all it's like puzzle pieces coming together. It's just like, wow, this is really strange. And I keep forgetting to write it down. I have to do that so I can share them with you. So she goes on to say, in planning an artist date, we should aim for enchantment, explore mystery, something that catches our imagination. Um, all artist dates are enlightening. And she treats that word quite literally, like you feel lighter at the end of the date than at the beginning. So just take a couple hours for yourself this week and see what that does for you. And not doing normal errands and grocery shopping, but doing something for yourself, something creative. Let me know what it is. I'd love if you shared it in the comments and told me what your artist date is going to be. And a lot of times this book is a lot about midlife and living in midlife, discovering creativity and meaning at midlife and beyond. So it talks a lot about retirees and she says, other creative souls. But whenever it says retirement, sometimes I just think of, you can be forced into retirement from your health crisis. You could be forced into a career change, like a job change for really anything. Something happens, or you just have an enlightening year and you feel like, this is the year I'm going to do that thing that I've been wanting to do that I haven't done for so long. And I'm just going to totally have a major career change or job change, or go from working full time to working part time, or go from working full time to working at home, or working at home back into the workforce with more people now that, our crazy big health thing in the world kind of coming to a drawing out, not so severe. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm trying to say that without saying the word because YouTube might do something. So anyway, she uses an example here of Katie. Katie is a playwright. She found herself drawing heavily on her inner well, and she was on a deadline. She was aware that she needed an extra inflow at the time because she was under a deadline with heavy outflow. She took herself to a bird store. Now, I usually don't share all of these. She uses a lot of examples of people and what they did, and it's really helpful to get ideas. I don't read all of those to you guys because I don't want to read the whole chapter. That would be boring. But I just wanted to take a little bit from this one because I thought it was kind of sweet and gave me those ideas that I just shared with you about my grandma. So she went to this bird store because she remembered when she was working through her memoir that her grandma had a great love of birds. Katie says, I wanted to connect with her. I wasn't exactly sure how to do it, but she knew heading to a bird store would be the right direction. She says she had blue jays and little birds in the backyard, she's told the clerk. Well, then, the clerk said, you need two kinds of feed. Blue jays love peanuts and the little birds love seeds. Katie hadn't gone into the store expecting to expand her own bird feeding endeavors, but she purchased both kinds of feed, took them home, and filled the small little bird feeder hanging behind her house. True to the clerk's word, as soon as she put out the peanuts, she was swarmed with blue jays, sometimes as many as 5. I wish we had blue jays. I just love them. I've never seen a blue jay here that I can remember. Anyway, I'm going to start looking for them, but I'm pretty sure we don't have them here. She had a small birding book and she looked up the birds as they arrived. Juncos, chickadees, finches. They were all so delightful, and especially the blue jays. Thinking of her grandmother, more memories came to light. She remembers that as a child, she would sit on her screened porch of her grandma's house where Audubon prints lined the walls. Her grandmother had a coloring book filled with birds on the porch that was left out for grandchildren to use when they visited. I have so many good memories of coloring in my coloring books, coloring fashion plates. Does anybody remember those where you put the paper over top of the plate and you color it with like pencil crayon and the image shows through? And I just love coloring. I can't wait to color with my grandkids. I color with one already. I can't wait to color with the other guy. It's going to be so fun because we're going to be coloring like boy truck books, whereas we're coloring bunnies and such cute little things with Ellie. But I just thought that was really a cute example. And she goes to say, it's hard to underestimate the power of revisiting early fond memories. Remembering is one thing, but going out and looking for the memory or the physical representation of it is another. As we reach out to our past self, that self reaches back full of ideas for tomorrow. So what can you do? So the first task and the first thing you can want to get out your journal and a pen is we're going to have some journal prompts along the way here. And I guess this one you don't actually need your journal, but that you're going to make sure that you give yourself at least one artist date this week and something that delights you, and one remembering artist date. So if you can only do one, do the remembering artist date where you consciously chase a memory from your past. If you feel indulgent on taking 2 dates, good. Stock the pond fuels your current project and readies you for the next one. Fills your tank, stocks the pond. The more things you can do for yourself. I know some of us don't have time to do that, but if you could just do one nice thing for yourself this week, that would be great. And write about it in your journal. Use your morning pages to get it out of your mind and get deeper into it. Um, you can journal any time of the day on top of all of your morning pages if you want. And don't think you have to do your morning pages perfect, because I certainly don't do that either. But I have my moments where I will do weeks and weeks of doing really good. And then I will, when I'm traveling and stuff, I won't do anything at all. Or some days I just forget. And sometimes I'll do it in the evening. But it is best. I do notice that she is right. If you do it in the morning, she always says the morning is the best. And it really, really is, because your mind is just getting up. You have all these things on your mind of all the things you got to do today, what you want to accomplish, where you should be, appointments, this and that, and you can get it all out on paper in one go, and kind of clear your mind for the day. And it actually makes me a lot more productive and organized when I do that, I've noticed. So the next little topic is healthy selfishness. In retirement, many of us must learn to practice what might be called healthy selfishness. No longer tied to a job, we have freedom, but some of that freedom must be used on our own behalf. For many of us, this is surprisingly difficult. We find ourselves only too ready to make sacrifices in the name of family, home maintenance, promises to help at church, or long deferred duties and obligations. The point is that sometimes we sacrifice our own wishes in the name of external demands. So she goes ahead and uses a whole bunch of examples of different people who did this and that. And basically, she talks about finding healthy selfishness can take a delicate balance of honesty about our emotions and compassion for ourselves, but happiness is the inevitable result. So I don't know about you, but this is where you're going to get your pen and paper to journal. She wants you to write and answer the following questions to yourself. Number down the page 1 to 5. And you're going to write, if it weren't too selfish-eyed. Number 2, if it weren't too selfish-eyed. If it weren't too selfish-eyed. And you're going to do that 5 times, and you're going to fill in the blank. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. I will share something that, this is what I was going to say before, that this made me think of. Me and my girlfriend just had a kind of like a artist date together. We went out for lunch. We went to like this noodle place and had the most delicious deep fried avocado. Oh my goodness. It has like cheese drizzled on it, and I don't even know all the flavors, but it's like, wow. If you're watching this, Crane, you know. It was unbelievable. It was so unbelievable. We had noodle dish. We went for a walk up this place called Scout Island, where it's these little walkways and you can walk all along around this little island. And we went out shopping, and we hardly bought anything. We more or less just wandered through stores looking, and it just felt so nice. Now that you're not supposed to do with a friend, but it sure fills your tank. If you can't do anything by yourself and you have to do it with a friend, I say do whatever. Anything is better than nothing, because that was super filling the tank for me. And I felt wonderful after. She did my nails. Aren't they beautiful? Like, she does such an amazing job. I got my toes done sunny yellow, so they look really cute. Got rid of the wedding nails and got the bright summer, fresh spring, bright colors. But I felt like that's a little bit of healthy selfishness right there. Taking time for yourself, making an effort to go do something. My hubby went golfing with his son. That's a great time where you're not by yourself, you're with someone, but you're with someone that you love and you enjoy the time. And that's like your own little task to have fun and do something. Oh, that's the cat jumping around. Scared me. Oh, I heard some weird noise. Okay, so complete the following. If it weren't too selfish-eyed. Now, I will share one with you that I know I have on my list, and that is, we talked about, me and my girlfriend, when we were all talked about going to like traveling together by ourselves for like 3 weeks just to go enjoy, do food stuff, cooking classes and stuff in like maybe go through Croatia down the south of France. Like that's a dream. That's on my bucket list. That's not in the budget anytime soon, but that is really, if I wasn't too selfish, that's really what I would love to do with a friend. And I don't know if Jamie would want to come. Of course, he could come with us and he might really like that kind of thing because the weather looks like it would be amazing to do that. But even I'd be too scared now with my health to do it alone, whereas maybe before I could have done something by myself alone, but I enjoy going and doing things and seeing things and making memories with people. So I just love the idea of doing it with somebody or a group or whatever. But if it weren't too selfish, I'd do that. Now, I can think of a few more things. If it weren't too selfish, I'd do like buying a lot of hatching eggs and having lots of chickens and lots of ducks and lots of baby turkeys, because I know that's weird, but we live on a homestead and a farm, and I love birds and poultry. So that is my favorite thing. I would like have tons and tons of things. I would also, oh, now that we're on the selfish topic, they're coming to me. I think they'll come to you as you're thinking about things that you really, really want. I would love one of those huge, big, long greenhouses, like a tunnel greenhouse where I could grow cut flowers and sell them at little farm stand. I have all these ideas, but all these ideas have money. So I'm going to take the other few ideas and make them be free ideas. If it weren't too selfish, I'd maybe go kayaking by myself. I would go hiking by myself all the time because I love hiking, and now that I can do it again, I feel it feels amazing. But I can't because there's too many wild animals where we live. But things like that, I can think of a lot of neat things. I'd probably go get more massages. Um, 1 or 2 a year just doesn't really cut the mustard for me. But yeah, fill it out for whatever what do you want to do? What do you love? If you didn't feel selfish, you'd do what? And I bet that you can do some of those things. You can actually do something there. Like I can go book myself a massage. I don't need to, and that's the idea. It's healthy, selfish things that you need to do for yourself that would make you feel really good. So where are you denying yourself because you're feeling selfish? So fill those blanks in and see what you come up with. And if you feel like sharing them in the comments, I'd love to hear what your healthy, selfish ideas are. Please share them. Okay, so the next topic she talks about is called in sickness. During our work lives, many of us enjoyed a sense of our own competency and strength. Moving from project to project, we felt vigorous and filled with self-esteem. When we let go of our work life, many of us found ourselves floundering. Our sense of our own strength has diminished, and we no longer feel able-bodied and level-headed. We miss the feelings accomplishment that work provided. Baffled by our feelings of weakness, we worry we will never again regain our sense of strength. But this feeling is an illusion. What we need to do is actually quite simple. We need to set new goals for ourselves. Oh, goody. I love goals. I'm kind of like a goal-driven person, so I love doing this kind of stuff. In accomplishing them, we feel a renewed sense of vigor. It is really as simple as taking a pen in hand and listing categories which we set these goals. So here's where you can pull out your journal again and your pen, and you can she tells you to make 4 topics. I do goal setting a little different when I'm teaching that, but she uses spirituality, friendships, creativity, and physicality. I like those topics, but you can expand them more, such as relationships, finances, health, stuff like that. When I do this exercise, I set a small doable goal in each category. For my friendships, I may plan a shared meal. For creativity, I may pledge myself to do morning pages. And then 3 pages of writing on a current project, because she's a writer, so she's constantly writing. I set goals I can accomplish, and when they are accomplished, I feel the strength and desire to do more. Meeting our goals gives us a sense of satisfaction, and when we complete them, we feel ourselves growing even stronger. So I totally agree with that. If you're not a goal setter, you should set yourself some doable, reachable goals, because when you make an effort to write it down, it's much more realistic that it's going to happen, and it's going to work out for you, and you're going to actually complete it because you see it on paper. But you need to break that goal down into smaller little bites so that you can write them in your planner, schedule them in so you can do the thing and tick them off that you've done them. Because it's one thing to just write a goal down, but if you're not going to take steps to work towards it, you're never going to complete it. And then you're going to, beat yourself up for it. Or I feel like a failure. I never reached my goals. But until you break that down into baby steps, you're not going to be able to reach it anyway. So I think that that's really a great topic to talk about at this point in the book, because we've talked so much about creativity and humor, how to create a sense of joy, synchronicity, exercising more. We've talked about humility. We've talked about dismantling doubt and honesty about ourselves and where we are procrastinating in life and not doing the things that we really want to do. And we've talked about the legacy we want to live. Man, when I look back in the book, we've really talked about a lot. We've talked about isolation, loneliness, being connected to people, clearing a path, decluttering to create a sense of freedom in our home, like by decluttering your home and your mind, because in order to renew your mind, you need to declutter. Sometimes it really helps to declutter your environment. Returning to the wonder of childhood, all of these things. We talked about so many cool things, actually. When I look at this book, I feel like we've really talked about so many things that are so important. So she uses an example next of this guy named Edmund. And I want to say, again, I want to use this little story because I think that it gives a great creative spark for me. Edmund, newly retired at 65, finds himself suddenly suffering from aches and pains and a general sense of life. He says, I need to do something. When I was working, I was feeling fine. I was feeling good. I felt healthy. But now that I'm home, I feel blah and bored and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not reading this word for word. This is his kind of story in a nutshell. So he decided that he wanted to take a beginner's carpentry class because he felt like when he was doing something, had a purpose. And once he began the class, his aches and pains started going away. His energy returned. It seemed to be a cure for what ailed him. He noticed that he naturally returned to better health, and he was having a great time quite effortlessly. And I think that those kinds of things can be so critical. Maybe it's a painting class. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's creating something. Maybe it is going and getting a really part-time job again so that you feel, if you're struggling to find your purpose about what your purpose is, something that's actually using your gifts. And I think that that's such a great example. She also uses one about her name's Kada, a school psychologist. She had a bout of breast cancer and her operation was successful. She went into remission and her health was like a wake-up call. So then she decided to start thinking about, how do I actually want to spend my final years? And it's unfortunate that sometimes it takes a really bad health scare, a health crisis to make you think that and and trust me, I know if you want to watch my videos on my health journey, you can go on my personal page. So I've got, this page is Create, Heal, Shine page. This is my business page, my coaching page, where I'm going to have a membership community, where we are all working together. But on my personal page, Buckridge Homestead, I have a playlist called Living with AL Amyloidosis and Heart Failure, and you can watch the heart transplant surgery. Like, not the full graphic thing, but it's quite graphic. Oh, speaking of that, I just want to touch base that I don't know if I said this last video, but coming in the fall, I will keep you guys posted again on the Knowledge Network. We will be in a documentary and they will be showing my full heart transplant. And they finally named it Transplant Stories. So that's kind of exciting. And they documented a lot of my journey that is all different footage than what I documented. So it's going to be quite exciting for me. And if you are into that thing, I want to see. But when I read about her who had this health wake up call, I can 100% relate to that. I feel like, why do we as humans need to have such a hardcore health crisis sometimes to really wake us up and say, how do I actually want to live? All these things that I'm doing that I really don't want to be doing. And now how do I want to live out my final years? And lucky to the people like myself for now and her that can actually have the chance to live a little bit longer. I mean, there's no timeline, but how do we want to spend that time? Do we want to waste it away? And so that's so important to me. I love that. So by taking care of ourselves always helps those around us. My improved health improves my dog's life, and she gets longer and more consistent walks. I have more energy for my friends, my daughter, my granddaughter. I have more clarity as a teacher and a writer. Others may even benefit from our tank being full. They also may be inspired to improve their own lives as well. And that's what I always do, is seek to inspire people that anything is possible, even with a diagnosis that is terminal, because it is just life altering. Honestly, it's life altering. So if you have that, you should definitely, and I don't ever like to say should, but should definitely put yourself first and decide how do you want to spend the time? Who do you want to spend that with? And, all of those kinds of things. Make that a priority for yourself. Okay, so now we're going to get out our pen again. And this task is list 5 simple things you could do for your health: physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever. She gives 5 examples. Walk to the library instead of drive. Well, she must be close. Take time to visit the chapel I love when I'm downtown. Call her best friend. She loves talking to her. Call someone who cheers you up. Call someone who motivates you and inspires you. Call someone you haven't talked to in a long time that's been on your mind, that you need to call. You felt that calling, that urge that you should call this person. Do it. Follow through with that feeling. Reinstate the morning smoothie habit I had let slide, etc. Can you realistically add one or more of these things to your daily routine? So write your 5 down, 5 simple things that you could do for your health. Write those down and then realistically add 1 or 2 back into your schedule, into your daily routine. So hopefully now with this book club, if you've been doing it week by week, if not, don't worry about it. I haven't been doing it week by week either because of my medical appointments. But if you are doing it week by week, you can create a really nice weekly routine or daily routine, if that's possible. And if it is possible, to add some of these to your day. And if not, if you're doing it like me, here and there, as much as you can, and I still try and have my own daily routine. I still try and stick with a base idea of what I want to do in the morning. And I'm going to add something to this. And I think what it is going to be is I'm not sure. Let me think about that. Might take me too long. I have lots of things that I'm already doing for my health that I've put back in. So maybe I'll share those. Is I've put in walking steps in the morning. So if you haven't done, if you can't walk outside or you don't want to walk outside or whatever, and it's winter time too, you can always do walking workouts or walking videos. If you Google them or look on YouTube, there's so many good ones. You can do walking exercise things. And I try and get at least 2,500 to 3,500 steps in right away in the morning. And so that's something that I've put into place. And then, of course, the morning pages. Some days I don't do that. Honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't always do that, but I'm trying to do it as many times as I can because the more I do it, I know that the more it clears my mind and gets it out. So if I can at least do it 4 or 5 times a week, if I forget on the weekend, then, or take a break, I'm not going to beat myself up for it. So the next topic is the partnership balance. This is kind of a longer chapter a little bit, I've noticed. Oh yeah, it is. It was. Okay. Having a retired husband is like having a piano in the kitchen. Okay, so you can use this this example as if you're not retired, as if your hubby or something is on vacation or all of a sudden around 24/7. This requires a huge adjustment from the spouse. A homemaker whose husband retires may be going from working full time to suddenly coming home, and she may be feeling all of a sudden under scrutiny or criticism. I got along fine without my husband's help. I feel like a toddler underfoot. My husband expects me to entertain him, or at least I think he does. And I know that sometimes you feel like when somebody else is kind of pacing around you and doesn't know what to do with your time, that you need to figure out what they should do with their time and fill it or something, but they really need to figure it out for themselves. It's an equal adjustment when the working wife retires. My wife was the one that used to be the earner, and her retirement meant less money and less autonomy. I had grown up in another time where my mother had never worked, and he goes to say that I think I unconsciously expected my wife to become like my mother, and I deeply offended her with that assumption. And it's no wonder she was offended. I see the error in my thinking, but I think her retirement caused me an emotional upheaval. So this can be really, I understand this 100% because you can see different scenarios of this all over the place. A scenario that resonates with me right now is when all of a sudden I was in the hospital and Jamie had to leave work and go on caregiver leave and all of a sudden be my caretaker, which I never had a caretaker. I was so independent. And if anything, I cared for everybody else. And so I didn't know how to deal with that. It was really difficult it felt like I think I had bouts of like times where I told him, I need to be by myself. You need to go away. And it was just awful. It was so heart-wrenching. Um, because you're just mentally and emotionally fragile, and so are they really, because they're not in their normal routine, and it can just be an emotional upheaval for both of you. So there's many scenarios that this could be realistic for, but when you do truly love each other, you can step back, look at the scenario, and then rethink about the situation and maybe change your behavior, because it can be so damaging. Because remember that things that you say, you can't really take them back. If once you've said them, you can apologize, but it doesn't always mean that the other person is going to forget. Maybe they forgive, but they don't forget. I don't know. So we really have to really watch how we, as we get older, how we really treat our spouses. So this one really was powerful for me. I had that thought come to my mind about the hospital, and as somebody who's doing so much for one person normally, and then the other one has to be that support person for someone and you're not used to it, it's really difficult to be in both positions for sure. Um, he says in this little scenario that he even daydreamed of divorce because retirement really rocked the boat. And that is a scary thought. I really never crossed my mind about that would be a thought at retirement about divorce. Because, but then all of a sudden you're both home together all the time. And that's a really interesting scenario. I'm not quite there yet, but I could see how that could be that dynamic could be really dangerous. And if you're like, it would take some getting used to for sure. Um, and she does say, as we work through the change, it's often best that at least some of the work is done alone. We do not need to verbally process everything with our spouse. We can use our journal pages for that. We can write a lot of stuff down in our morning pages that we're struggling with so that you're not actually saying those negative things to your partner. Um, what does it matter actually if Jim does sleep in so late? He's gotten up early for 40 years. It's not really a big deal, but we can process our feelings in our journal. If we were to stop and talk about every sentence in our pages before we had thought it through, drama would likely ensue. This is why it's so important that morning pages are private. I have been grateful that I've never lived with anyone who would read my pages, she says, but I have students who hide, burn, lock up, or shred their pages. And this is just fine. Um, but these partnerships also tend to weather change and benefit from more openness and honesty. And I don't burn my pages or anything like that. I don't know what I think I've thrown some journals out before. I'm not sure what I've done, but I keep a lot of mine. I like to look back and kind of see where I was at. And that's why I especially like to date the top of my pages. Then I can also see how many days I missed and where I'm picking up again. Um, so in that, we are going to take a quick personal inventory. Has your retirement shifted the balance in your household? Is there anything that has made you short-tempered? If so, look closely. What is your part in it? As we take responsibility for ourselves, our partners, and intimate others often do the same. So take that quick inventory, write down in your journal, has the balance shifted in your home, whether you've retired or changed jobs or your whole household dynamic is different. It doesn't have to be retirement. But what has made you short-tempered? What is your part in it? And so I think that could be a really good self-reflection tool right there by answering that question by yourself in your journal. The whole idea of this is that you're finding purpose again in things. The truth is, we're turning our pain into energy for good. And this can be one of the greatest assets of age. With a little willingness, we can draw on stores of experience, heal our wounds, and work to create the life that we want. So pain as energy, that is the task. So what you're going to do is write again, 1 to 5. And then this time you're going to fill in the blanks. The truth is I'm frustrated by, and you're going to do that 5 times. The truth is I'm frustrated by. The truth is I'm frustrated by. Pain does not use our energy, but we can consciously channel it towards productive and positive action if we are willing to look at our options with fresh eyes. Writing very quickly, do not censor yourself. Complete that following. The truth is, I'm frustrated by. So for me, and I'm being totally honest here, when I'm using that example of when I was in the hospital, I was just frustrated by the feeling of being smothered. You're in one room, you're not even in a home together. You're in one room and the person is sitting beside you from day to night. And that's not good for the person either. They need to go have breaks. They need to go take walks. They need to go get food. They need to go do things, and that person's frustrated because they're watching you decline or hopefully get better. But in my case, it was decline. And it's devastating on both people because you don't know what to do with yourself. You want to be together, but especially was awful in the summer because it was like being cooped up with the sun beating in the window, but you couldn't open the window and you wanted to go outside and you were only allowed not to leave the property because I had tubes and a monitor on me and things that they couldn't read if I went any further. And it was just like, I just remember so much stress and so much confusion and emotional imbalance and complete lack of mental stability. Because for one, the food and the way that you're eating, you're not used to eating this. You're not used to being in this environment. You're not used to being so close to each other day in and day out. It's a real challenge. And we got through it. We got through it and we like, I don't think I could have got through it any other way without him. But in the time, it's really hard and heavy. I mean, I was in there for months though, so you have to understand that that wasn't like I was in there for 3 days and someone was driving me crazy. This was months. So it's hard. It's hard for both people. And so now we kind of have each have our own morning routine where I do this and he does that. And then we come together and eat and do things and go and do activities together and love it. So I think you learn a lot about your partner when you get older that maybe you just didn't even realize before or earlier because you kind of zoomed by each other's life when I was working full time and he was working full time and you just, you don't have that much 100% time together. And then when you do, you start to really learn and kind of understand more about that person, understand their personality deeper, understand the way that they think, and you see their habits and their patterns a lot come out in that time. So that brings us to the end of week 10. I hope that you enjoyed this week. It was a really interesting week, bringing up all these neat memories. I hope you do your artist date. Don't forget to do your morning check-in with your morning pages. How many days did you do your morning pages? Did you take yourself last week on an artist date, or at least the week you were reading your book? Did you take your walks every day for 20 minutes? What did you notice along the way? Any aha moments that you had? Did you experience any synchronicity this week? Like I said, I had lots and I didn't write it down, so I have to kind of remember what those are. I'm going to start noticing from now on and write them down. Did you feel more guided by a higher power, or did it give you a sense of humility? What did you find in your memoir that you want to explore more? Because I didn't explain it in this video, but in most of the other videos, I explain that everything that we write in our journal is basically creating a memoir for us from a certain time period. And each time period is broken down by 12 chapters divided by your age. So that would, or no, sorry, 12 chapters divided by your age. Oh yes, that's what it is. And then you're going to have chunks of years of your age and answer questions on those. And the questions are the same each week. They're in every video. So we're in the end, you're going to have a journal that if you choose to, is like a little memoir at the end with all of your journaling questions, your thoughts that you can keep or you can burn or you can tear up or do whatever with after. But I think it's really special to look back later in a couple of years at what you wrote. It's pretty neat. I like doing that when I'm looking back on my journals. So week 11, reigniting a sense of adventure. Oh, I already love the topic. I already am excited to read it. I might even read it do 2 weeks in 1 week this week because it looks so good. I love dreaming. I love goals. I love adventure. I like seeing new places, doing new things, being outdoors. So I can't wait for this week. But in the meantime, this week was fantastic. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I enjoyed talking to each and every one of you. Please leave me a comment. Also, any questions that you left me on my Instagram, I will answer here next time. but yeah, you can start this at any time. And I just started the brand new channel called Create, Heal, Shine on Instagram. That's going to be all about journaling and business stuff. So self-development, that kind of thing. So I'd love for you to join me. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. And if you want to visit my personal page, that's Buckridge Homestead. And next week we will do Reigniting a Sense of Adventure, guys. That's it. Week 10 is over. We only have 2 more to go. And then who knows what book we're going to start after that. I can't wait. It's time to start thinking about that, though, where we're going to go after that. So I hope you have a fantastic week. Bye, friends. See you next time.